So I'm here at my favorite restaurant that's on the beach here in Dubai. And I want to talk about ecosystem thinking. And I hope the audio quality is good. I'm a little red from the sun. It's outside today, hanging out. But a lot of the times I see a lot of guys in business, what they'll start to do is get this shiny object syndrome. And shiny object syndrome is inherently good because it means you're searching for new and different opportunities. And it's interesting to me that a lot more people, or most people, won't use their shiny object syndrome correctly. And in this video, I'm going to explain why. And I'm just going to go on a rant here and just talk about my thoughts about what I've seen and my own personal belief systems when it comes to business and this idea of actually managing your shiny object syndrome and using it to your benefit instead of having it hinder you and destroy your life. So the standard path that most people take when it comes to doing all these different things is they'll pick one thing, stick with it for maybe a few weeks or maybe a month or two. It won't work for them because they don't get over the pain threshold that's required in order for them to be successful. And what ends up happening is they go to the next thing, the next opportunity. Let's use guys to start drop shipping, for an example, because I'm actually over here running meetings for my e-commerce brand that I have over here in Dubai. And people get started in drop shipping, they'll get started in e-commerce, and they'll start to build these skills and start to cultivate a skill set that is specific to the thing that they're doing. Whether that's building brand or design or writing copy for products or buying advertising and doing all these different things. And what ends up happening to them is because it doesn't work for them, or they're starting out with limited capital options, they don't have much money. What ends up happening is they'll switch to the next thing. Instead of doing drop shipping, then they'll go into the agency business. And then they're going to try doing outreach for their agency. They suck and they won't find any success because they either are not learning from the right people, or they don't have the right mentors, or they don't have the right model that's in alignment with their skill set. And they end up quitting. And then they switch to the next thing, which is AI, or now it's crypto. And what ends up happening is you start to diverge into all of these different opportunities. And not only are you going to hinder yourself and lose out because you lack focus on one, what ends up happening is you start to build all these skill sets and forget to use them for all of the other things that you're doing. When you start an agency, you learn sales skills. Or if you start out in sales and then you want to run your own offer, you want to start your own business, you need to realize the same sales skills that you developed when you were selling someone else's product are the same sales skills that are going to take you from 0 to 10K, 0 to 20K per month. And so a lot of people, they'll get this shiny object syndrome. And what ends up happening is they jump from thing to thing to thing, but it's not in relation or relative to each other. And they also don't do things that are in alignment with their skill sets or their natural tendencies and their natural abilities. I am not the best at math. When they started adding the squiggly lines and the Greek alphabet and different graphs and then find this equation, I started to lose it, right? When the circle with the pi and all that stuff, I started to kind of lose the plot there. But I'm good at accounting and I'm good at numbers and I'm good at basic math in order to run a business. I'll never be an astrophysicist. The only way that I'm ever going to go to the moon is if Elon allows rich people to buy seats on a rocket ship and go to Mars. And I know that that is not in my natural alignment with my skill sets. I know that sales and doing business and creating a vision and moving forward towards a goal is in alignment with my skill sets, and speaking and being able to galvanize people and influence. This is all in alignment with my skill sets. Things that use psychology, that require sales, that allow me to use my natural gifts in alignment with the things that I'm doing in business. And it's interesting because I've tried a lot of different things. Back when I was I think 19 years old, I tried to do Amazon drop shipping when that was a hot thing. Not FBA, but Amazon drop shipping. I tried e-commerce. I started an agency all when I was like 19, 20. And I found a little bit of success to where I was able to break even on one of the first drop shipping stores that I created. And I told this story a couple of years ago on Twitter when a company called Felix Gray sent me a cease and desist letter and tried to say that I was copying their story, their brand story, because I was studying finance at the time. And I said this brand was started by a finance student. And I basically shit myself and completely just took the website offline. But I was able to get the ads to where I was break even, but I didn't have that much money. And I was literally sleeping on the floor of the computer lab in my school because my computer broke, and it was either continue running ads and trying to make a profit with this thing that I started online. I was 21 at the time, and try that and do my best. And so from, 9, 10 o'clock at night, I would sneak into the computer lab and I would work on the ecom brand and I work on the store. And I was doing this all day, but I didn't have a computer. I didn't have money for a computer. It was either buy a new laptop or sneak into the computer lab, risk getting in trouble with the campus police, and then later on, the actual municipal police, and saying that I was trespassing, even though I was a student, because the building was supposed to be closed, even though they left the buildings open. And it was either run the business and do the best I possibly could, or buy a new computer and give up. And so I chose to do my best and try to run the business. And I look back on that because I was studying how to create ads. I was studying how to do media buying, and I was studying how to write copy. And I was looking at Jason Capital's old sales letters and long form copy. And I was learning website design. I was learning email marketing, and I was learning actually how to create a brand, and learning design, and learning, Photoshop and Final Cut and all of the different video softwares. And even though I ended up losing all my money and not turning a profit with that brand, even though it was basically break even, it was a few sales a day. I didn't have that much money to invest in ads. I think I was doing maybe $20, $30 a day in ad spend. I built these skill sets. And so these skill sets are now what I'm using years and years later in my brand that I started over here in Dubai. These skill sets are the fundamental knowledge that I've used in order to build all of the things that I've built over the past few years. The web design stuff, the copywriting, the sales ability that I developed when I was in corporate sales. All of this stuff I used years and years later. And so I tried everything. I tried as many things as I possibly could. But back in the day, the information that's available now wasn't available back then. And so you have so much knowledge at your fingertips, so much knowledge available, that it's very easy to start out now. It's very easy to become successful. I was saying on a podcast yesterday, that hopefully will be out soon, that the people that have stuck with the same things for the past 2 to 3 years, ever since the advent of, I want to call the information age of the internet, if you've stuck with the same thing for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, like I have, then it's very hard to not be successful. That's why you see all these people popping up with supercars. I have 2 supercars. And I've only been in business for myself since I was 24, and I'm 26 now. I've almost been an entrepreneur for 3 years. And so I look at all these younger guys who are 22, 23, and they have so much more than what I had materialistically and financially, because the information was available to them. And even though they may have tried different business models, different business opportunities, what they've been able to do is been able to take their skill sets that they've developed and merge them transitively into one thing. And so I want you guys to think about this. Whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's not the right thing, or it's not the thing that's in alignment with your true skill set, what ends up happening is you build these foundational abilities and these foundational skills that you can later on use in your life and in your business career. That's why I think not everyone is going to be a natural salesperson, but I think every single person should learn sales. Not everyone is going to be the best operator or the best technological operator in their business. but you need to understand how everything works so that you can understand it and then solve problems later on. And so what most people do is they'll jump, like I said, from thing to thing to thing to thing, and then forget to use all the skills that they developed. And they get this constant reminder in their bank account and with how much money that they make, that they're constantly starting from zero. Every single time you build a new business or you work on a new project, you're starting from zero. And so the easiest thing to do is leverage all of your skills and leverage all of these opportunities that you have and that you've done and that you've tried, and merge them into what I call an ecosystem. And so ecosystems are based and foundationally based in the way that I think now, which is a principle actually that I took from a conversation that I had with my friend who was watching a lot of Grant Cardone at the time. And he said that Grant Cardone said that everything has to work together. And so I ruminated on this and I thought about this. Everything does have to work together. And it's important that everything works together, because if you do one thing over here and then one thing over there, and your skill sets that you're building are individual from each other, okay, you might build the skill sets, but if both things that you're building at the same time work together flawlessly and fluently, what ends up happening is you're able to build a lot faster and you're able to make more money and you're able to be successful faster. Every single thing that I do now, specifically in business and also in life, is foundationally based on ecosystem thinking. And so ecosystem thinking means, what do I build that works together with this, right? So I have a info business. I sell courses. I also have a consulting firm. And some of you guys would call it an agency. So we still do agency work. I also have a consulting business, and I work with influencers and creators, and we take an equity share. We also have traditional advertising clients and stuff like that we work with, more B2B, traditional focused stuff. And the agency business helps me with the info business and the courses because I'm practicing what I preach, and I'm also practicing and actively doing what I teach. Then we're working on a software. So the software helps us run the agency business more fluently. Then it also is going to be available for the people who are in my info products and in my courses that I'm going to release over time, because it's a one-stop shop for everything to happen. Whether it's a CRM, whether it's automations or workflows or website, landing page building, all of this stuff is going to be built into the software. Therefore, it just simply makes it easier for the people that are starting out with their agencies and they're learning from me inside the agency course. It also helps me run my business more efficiently. And all of these three things, they're ecosystem based. The agency helps me solve problems in the info space and helps me teach better and gets the students more results. The software helps the students get more results. The software allows us to have that one-stop shop of everything that's needed to actually run the agency business more efficiently. So everything is ecosystem based, and every single thing has to work together or it's not worth doing. Now, a lot of people are going to go and they're going to catch a crypto pump during this bull run. And I hope you do. And I hope you guys make a lot of money. But it's very important that foundationally within your business, you operate on a set of principles where everything has to work together. Everything has to be systematic and everything has to be an ecosystem. And the ecosystem has to have something called a positive feedback loop. And positive feedback loops mean they are life-affirming systems. Friedrich Nietzsche calls them life-affirming systems, which means everything works together in order to yield a positive result. So life-affirming systems, let's say you're starting out in business, you're making money, then you're going to the gym. Now you have a nicer car, you bought a nicer car, you have a nicer apartment, you have a nicer watch, right? People are taking you more seriously. The business bleeds into your life. You feel better about yourself and your financial situation. Now you're working out and you feel better physically, not only health-wise, but you also look better. You feel better. Maybe your dating life improves. Now you have nicer things and now you're in nicer places and now you're traveling the world and you have more experience. Therefore, you have more things to talk about in conversations. You're becoming a more experienced and well-rounded. These are all positive feedback loops. Everything has to help each other. Because if everything doesn't help each other, you end up becoming the victim of your own mind. And you end up losing out on a lot of things because you have this shiny object syndrome, and you actually impact and negatively affect your success. So keep these ideas in mind, because when you negatively impact your success, you're actively shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to your goals and what you want actually in your life. And so you have to fundamentally base your actions in this ecosystem-based thinking where you're actively trying to create positive feedback loops in your life. You're actively trying to create success for yourself in every single area. Because it's not just about money. It's about the life that money buys. It's about the freedom that money buys. And so this is how I've thought over, I want to say, the past 8 to 9 years of my life, where everything has to help each other. Everything has to actively benefit you, either on a primary fundamental level or on a secondary level or on a tertiary level. And so you have to build out, I think in business, it's called vertical integration and horizontal integration, but everything has to be an ecosystem. Everything has to be a positive feedback loop. Because if you don't do this, your life is ultimately going to be worse than if you did. And the reason I say that is because, like I said, when I started out with all of this stuff, when I started out in business, I tried X thing, Y thing, Z thing. And later on, I realized that all of the things that I did back then, when I had the shiny object syndrome, when I actively was negatively impacting my success, now are all skill sets that I use every single day of my life, because I figured out how to integrate them all and create synergies between them. The personal brand traffic helps the info business. Sometimes it gets us consulting clients, but it's also going to help build the software. The network that I've developed from the personal brand helps me solve problems with the e-com brand. Everything has to work together. And so my message to you is, even if you are a victim of shiny object syndrome, what I think you should do, and they say that a word to the wise is sufficient, what I think you should do and what I've done, which has made me wildly successful at 26 years old, is to think about how everything works together. And even, like I said, even if it's not the right thing, or it's not in a natural alignment with your skills and your skill set, make sure you're actively thinking towards the future. Make sure you're thinking how you can actively create synergies and positive feedback loops within everything that it is you're doing. So that's my message to you. And I hope this message finds you well. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.